Good evening, everybody. Welcome here on Thursday, the 2nd of December, to a very lonely Barbers Arms, as I'm here on my own tonight. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here on episode 75, all in conjunction with Wahl UK and the British Barbers Association. Welcome to Barbers Arms. We're back. And here it is on episode 75. We've got a great show lined up. We've got one of my old friends, Elmar Heilf, who is going to be joining us from Cologne in Germany. We've got a great story to tell you about Elmar and his Gentleman's Barber Club out in Cologne and some new ventures that's coming up. And then around about 8:45, we have Stephanie Polansky, who is the new director of global education at my company, Wahl America. So she's going to be coming on and tell us a little bit about her new role, joining us from Sexy Hair Products, and now she's our Global Director of Education. Steph's going to be joining us around about 7:45 from California. So it's a very international theme here tonight on Barbers Arms. I would now normally introduce my co-host, but we're going to go straight into it. Guys, I hope that in light of the new government kind of tweaky time, let's call it, that you're all protecting yourselves and all doing the right thing. I think there is a certain nervousness that has been around everybody in the last couple of weeks in light of the new variants of COVID coming out. And I think from my point of view, it's just like, I think people have been vaccinated, people have got, the booster done, you're doing the right things. And hopefully this industry can keep moving forward. And based on last time, it would be one of the last things to go and close down, but hopefully we can have a fantastic Christmas, everybody's safe, and we can move forward into 2022. Talking to 2022, I'll get my words right in a minute. Literally, I have had one little sip of Budweiser with it, as having a bit of an American theme on tonight, and I know the guys in Germany love this. I don't know if I already know it, but Budweiser, there is an abbreviation on Budweiser that I learned years ago, and it stands for "Because you deserve what every individual should enjoy regular." And I've not had a Budweiser for ages, but I thought I'd get one tonight. I love the mindless information that I'm pouting out tonight as well. That's something that you'll all have to endure with. Well, Gaz is not yet. Now, Gaz is fine. He's all well. There's nothing untoward. He has got a function that he wanted to attend tonight. So Gaz is going to be joining us back on the 22nd, which is the Barbers Arms Christmas special. I think for all our regulars that watch very regular on Barbers Arms as well, would like you to write into us, send us an email to either myself or Gaz or our production team, Trev Stud, if you want to get involved on the 22nd and we have a beer together, a little Christmas party like we did last year. I think that'll be amazing for us to do that on the 22nd. So that's Wednesday the 22nd. We will be doing our Barbers Arms Christmas special. The next show after tonight as well, I just want to fill you in on this one. It's going to be a biggie. We're going to have one of our co-guest hosts joining us. So Geoff Davis from Savills will be in the arms with me, and we will be interviewing different barbers, but it's going to be a big special one, this one. Listen very closely to what I'm going to say to you on the 8th of December, which is next week. Our guest will be Carl Smith from Carl Smith's Grooming in Barnsley, my hometown of Barnsley. And then, a very long awaited, this deal has took more negotiating than Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. But we have the elusive, no one knows him, but we have the pissed off barber who's going to be joining us in Barbers Arms. Now, guys, I don't think we're going to see the guy. I think it's going to be behind the screen, or he'll be wearing a mask or whatever. But we have the pissed off barber going to be joining us on Barbers Arms on the 8th of December. He's going to be joining me and Geoff Davis, who will be putting him through his paces and giving him a fantastic interview and see what he's got to say for himself. And hopefully everything, I don't think everything will be revealed on the 8th, but at least we'll get a little bit of an insight to his thought process and what he's up to in the life of the pissed off barber. That will be all on the 8th, and that's going to be with Carl Smith as one of the guests, and there's a few other barbers going to be joining us as well. Don't forget, before we move on to our guests as well, don't forget to follow me, Simon Show, Wahl, or Barbers Arms is barbers_arms. Them's our Instagram accounts. The website is thebarbersarms.co.uk. And if you want to email us, it is barbersarms@thebritishbarber.com. Those are all the social media sites which you can get in touch with us and reach on us. I know there's a few people watching, and it's different time again, guys. We've tried it over this last 3 or 4 months to drop it from a Friday to a Wednesday. We were a few weeks off. I think everybody was getting really busy, and anybody who were doing online stuff or online training, I think you've seen a diminish in terms of what you've been doing because live presentations have took over. But this is something that we will continue to do. As I say, might not be every Friday, but certainly over the Christmas period. Well, we've got a couple of shows coming up, which is the 8th of December and the 22nd. So don't forget to write in if you want to join us on the 22nd, especially all our old faithfuls. Congratulations to some of our followers as well recently at the Shabbir Awards on Sunday, which I was very privileged as well to compare the Shabbir Awards. An amazing evening was had by all. Numbers reduced to 500, but you wouldn't have felt that in the room. It felt absolutely electric. And she normally has about 900 to 1,000 people to attend the Scottish Hair and Beauty Awards. But there were some great people there who picked up some awards, some people who have been on our show as well. Alan Finlay got the Academy of the Year. Our own Ross Miller, who watches quite a lot, he got nominated for the Scottish Stylist of the Year. I think Nadine Farquhar, who has been on or watches the show as well, I think she got the Blow Dry of the Year. And if I forgot anybody there, do forgive me, because I was obviously comparing it. And anybody who knows us, when we try and whip up an audience, we always use the old faithful Sweet Caroline. But being in Scotland, I thought this is going to be difficult because we've used this as the England national team at the Euros, and it's now synonymous not only with boxing, but I think with the English football team doing so well in Euros, it was played after every game at Wembley. And so we went for a rendition of Scottish, The Flower of Scotland, and we went straight into Yes Sir, I Can Boogie. And if anybody's watched any of those online, thanks to all the audience who received that so well. The atmosphere was electric. The event started at 5:30, and then they went on to an ABBA tribute band. Nicky MacDonald, the X-Factor finalist from about 5-6 years ago, Nicky came on and did a middle spot. So the whole event was fantastic, and it was just a superb evening to be part of. And again, to compare it with Joseph Smith was one of my highlights of my career, is to compare those big awards. Monday night saw the British Hairdressing Awards at the Grosvenor House in London. Lots of people picking up fantastic awards. Some salon groups did really well, but I was so pleased again for a guy from Barnsley. Can you believe it? It's the second time he's won it, and he joins Andrew Barton from Barnsley as well. But Robbie is now again the coveted British Hairdresser of the Year. So well done to Robbie and from Barnsley, who actually won the coveted British Hairdresser of the Year. What an achievement. I did a photo shoot with the Barnsley boys back in the summer with Professional Hairdresser. And we were speaking to Rob about it. Then he's such an humble guy. You wouldn't have thought he'd have won it in the past, but outside of London, there has never been as many British Hairdressers of the Year in any city. And we're not a city, we're a town. So Andrew won it once, and Rob has now won it twice. Massive achievement for not only the two guys, but also as well for Barnsley as a town. So congratulations, Rob. And then this coming Monday at the hotel in London is the Fellowship Luncheon Award. Again, a massive audience there for the Fellowship Awards. Again, I'm lucky again this year to be doing some interviews while I'm there, but also as well being Project Men's leader. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for me and the people who's going to be on Project Men to have a fantastic 2022. So really looking forward to the Monday Fellowship event as well. So it's all awards. It's just like I have to pinch myself sometimes because I think I get paid for doing all this as well. Great. I just want to mention as well before we move on as well, after we did the Scottish Hair and Beauty Awards on Sunday night, I did a seminar up at Falkirk at the new Hair and Beauty World in Falkirk. where we had 45 people attending that. One of my mates up there, Tony Hair Signs, Tony came in and presented me with his book, which was really nice to see Tony and all the people up there in Falkirk. And then Tuesday night, I went back to Barnsley, to my hometown, where I was very lucky to do a seminar for Barnsley College, and we had 45 people attend that. So busy few days, really enjoyed it. That's just what my job's all about, is that, you know, over a 3-day period, 600 people have been hopefully entertained then in different ways, whether it's comparing or doing the hairdressing or barbering skills. But a really good week, and can't wait to get into next week. I think now, obviously, you'll be thinking I'm not stop talking. Obviously, Gaza's not with us tonight, so we're wanting to just keep moving on, and we're gonna, I think, fetch our first guest in. Now, I met this guy probably in 2012, 2013. Two young guys from Germany, Elmar and Felix, came on to some of our projects that we were doing at Wahl, Germany, and then they were lucky enough to come over and spend some time with me and Geoff Davies at Savills. But without further ado, he's going to tell us all about new projects, things that's happening in Cologne in Germany. But this guy's a super guy. He's lost about 7 or 8 stone since I first met him. So he's a real health fitness freak. And that's not just about losing weight. I think he's had a lifestyle change. And he's not only just dieting, he's actually keeping himself fit, minus the cigarette that he's got in his hand. But without further ado, from the Gentleman's Club in Cologne, a fantastic barber, please welcome Mr. Elmar Heilf into the house.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, brother.
So at first, I'm healthy right now, but smoking all the way. So yeah, thanks for your invitings. I'm happy to be here this evening. Hi Simon, how are you?
Very well, Elmar. Elmar, is there any chance you can just turn your monitor sideways, just so we can get a full view of the...
Like this way?
Sideways, so we get the landscape.
Okay, just give me a second here. Then I have to hold it with my hands. Is it better like this?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I have to hold it in my hands right now. So, yeah, hi. My name is Elmar. I'm 34 years old. I have my own barbershop. It's called Gentleman Barber Club since 7 years right now. And yeah, it's so awesome to talk about my barbershop and my lifestyle change, he told it. I lost 50 kilos, by the way, he told it, but it's so great to talk with you about barbers, because I see something change in Germany, because everybody thinks he's a barber. You know, Simon, I don't know how it's in England, but everybody, we have a barber pole outside, is a barber right now. And you asked me, tell me something about you, but I don't think it's good to talk about me, because I think it's better to talk about barbers. Because
that's something I've always found with you as well. I'm going to tell a little story about something that happened between me, you, and Felix that really touched me many years ago. Something happened with you guys. If you can hold the phone with your other hand, because you're just covering your microphone with the hand that you're holding it with. So just change hands across. That's better sound.
Better?
Perfect. So Elmar,
better so?
We've got a little bit of background there. I know you and Felix have worked together. I know there's now going to be a change of dynamics with that, either now or in the near future. But first question that we have for our viewers that will be globally watching you is, you know, looking at your career, where you've come from and where you are now. Who's been the biggest influence on your career? Who would you say has been the person that has been a constant drive forward for you?
So you have to know, I'm a small guy from a small village near Sauerland. It's called Sauerland. We have 800 people in our small village, and I was a typical village guy, going to school, going to high school, don't know what I want to do in the future, and I have a practicum in a hairdresser saloon, and this was a point I know I want to cut hair, only man hair, but I have to learn everything. And my parents was my greatest and biggest influence for me because I had small dreams. I want to cut man hair, and the other dream was I don't want to have a boss. And I never want to be a boss, never, never, ever, because I hated to say people what they have to do. And when I started my own business, I saw 2 rooms, a bigger one, this one, yeah, where I'm in right now, is 115 square meters, and the smaller one, it was 40 square meters. And the price for the smaller one was 800, and this price was 2,500. And my parents said to me, you have small dreams, but change to big dreams. And if you have big dreams, you have to plan it, and you have to start in a big room, then you can grow up. And I'm so happy that my parents was right. I go alone in this shop with 115 square meters, and I was alone. I don't know what happened to me, and we growed up to 5 people who work here in a short time. And if I wouldn't do that, I was in a small shop with 2 chairs, and I don't think so that they would be here if I don't heard about my parents. Sorry about my bad school English. I'm so sorry.
Your English has always been fantastic, mate. That's great.
You tell it every time, but I don't think so.
I think that's a great kind of story as well, that your parents have been, and I think you've mentioned that to me in the past about parents. Now we met probably 8-9 years ago in Untitled in Germany. We kind of like, I'm quite a spiky person in terms of like, I have a job to do and I have a leadership job to do, but I kind of hit it off with you guys straight away, both you and Felix. We kind of like, we had a great rapport. I think you kind of knew what I was thinking when I looked at you. You knew what I wanted and what I thought. So I always think I've been a part to play as well, and I wish we could have spent a bit more time together, but maybe in future. Okay. Just a quick one for all of you, especially in the UK. How do you rate the barber scene at the moment in Germany, and how do you rate it against the UK barber scene?
So I think you have much more great history in the UK barber scene. It's like, so if you grow up in Germany, you know normal hairdressers, right? So you go to a unisex shop where men and women are together in one shop. And if you grow up here, you know, if you do some special things at a woman, maybe color works, yeah? And you have some time when the color works are in the hair. You can. My boss, when I was younger, said, in the time when the color works in the hair, you can do a short haircut between. Yeah, and I said no, that couldn't be that couldn't work, because men are the better clients, better talks, better tip, better everything. And I don't know why, but I think men are the better clients for barbers. And I started my own shop, my own business here with a barber shop, and I think the traditional thinking about our works is not like the thinking about works in the UK. You know what I mean? So if you're in the UK, as you say to a guy, I go to a barber shop. Everybody knows, okay, good works for a good man, clean face and massive good works. But I think the last 7 years when I opened my shop, most guys didn't know what a barbershop is. And we need a lot of time that people, especially men, knows what barbershop does for men and what it's better instead of a normal unisex shop. And
would you say then were you one of the first? Because the way that I looked at you two guys as well is, you know, I think maybe 10 years ago, Skorum started to burst on the scene, but from a German point of view, there were lots of hairdressers, and we dealt with lots of hairdressers, and we were trying to convert them into cutting with clippers and cutting men's hair. But you were the first guys that I thought that came on that had that raw kind of image and the raw kind of philosophy that we kind of wanted to work with. Would you say you're one of the first in Germany to come out with that?
We was one of the first, of course, and we I think we did a good job because I think we did a really good job because everybody in Germany knows the shop. I don't know why, but it happens. And the only problem is everybody who has a barber pole, put it in the front and say, I'm a barber. And it's not possible to see if it's an original barber shop or a guy who's a unisex shop with a barber pole in front. And what's the difference between the works? And I think the prices make the difference.
So what would you say to our audience as well? What is your barbering philosophy? When anybody's going to come to you and for what do you want the experience? What's the philosophy of you for barbering?
Everybody is equal. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you have millions or if you're a poor guy who is an electrician, whatever. Depends. It doesn't matter. If you come in, you have to say everybody which is barber and a client, hello with a fist bump. Corona outside, yeah. And you have to say everybody hello. So that's the first thing. It's easier to talk with other guys when you came in to say everybody hello with a fist bump. Everybody who's too late have to do 20 push-ups for every minute he's too late. 20 push-ups for fucking every minute he's too late.
I love that idea.
Push-ups makes everybody equal. If you don't cancel your appointments 24 hours before, you have to pay the whole price for your appointment because that makes equal too. So it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, if you have to drive 2 hours, 20 hours or 20 minutes to our shop. If you're on point, you're cool. If you're not on point, you have to do push-ups. And if you aren't able to come, you have to pay the whole price. And it doesn't matter if you're Lucas Podolsky, he's a guest from us. It doesn't matter if you're Faisal Kivuzi, he's a big comedian here in Germany. It doesn't matter if you're fat, old, or young. The youngest guy was 7 who did push-ups here, and the oldest was 70. If you're not able to do push-ups, make sit-ups. If you don't want to do that, buy a bottle of liquor for every 100 push-ups you're too late. So for every 5 minutes you're too late.
Hey, listen, it's very German-like. I love it.
Yeah, we are really German, yeah. But it's good sometimes.
People are sending messages in saying, I love the German approach. We got one person commenting, did you get your inspiration for your glasses from me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You know I love glasses.
Yeah, I love glasses. Do you know Al Pacino? This is Al Pacino glasses from the 70s.
Yeah, look nice. Donnie Brasco film, I think you wore them.
Yeah.
Elmar, one thing that our viewers might not know, but it's something I've watched and commented on many times, is the dramatic kind of fitness regime and weight loss that you've gone through. Just tell our viewers a little bit about where you started and where you are now.
Sorry, tell it again. I didn't understand because, sorry.
Sorry, for people who don't know you, I want to share the story about your dramatic weight loss from where you was to where you are now.
Okay. Yeah, I was really fat. So I had a lot of, you know my story because you have the same story. Love you so much. I was really fat a lot of times, and I was skinny a lot of times. So weight up, weight down, weight up, weight down. And there was a special dramatic thing in my life. I broke up with a girl and Corona comes to us. So these both things, we all stayed at home, you know, in the whole world, and told me, guy, you can do Zoom meetings every day with liquor, or you can buy a bicycle and drive kilometers. And I choose the kilometers with a bicycle. And I lost 50 kilos, the half weight, not a little bit skinner. Yeah, it's really, really big change in my life, and it's a better lifestyle. And I had a lot of, can I tell you, meetings with girls from Tinder, which told me, I liked you before. And I asked them, well, where was you when I was that? So I think it's a good thing to know that everybody looks to your front, but you know who your friends are and which girls are good for you if you are fat and when you're skinny, because most people don't only see your front, not your insides. You know.
Yeah, good point. And like you said, yeah, I've struggled with you, as you know, from meeting me to different times we've met. Weight fluctuates, and it's quite difficult, especially in my job as well with hotels and stuff. It's so difficult to fucking diet. You know, you think we all good intentions are going to be good this week, and then I come to Germany and I'll see you two guys, and I'll go out and have like 10 beers and something to eat and 25 pints.
Yeah, I remember.
Fucking nightmare. What's in your salon? You've got a beautiful salon, and I know you've got some real high-profile clients, particularly footballers. One in particular that springs to mind is Lucas Podolski, the German international, who had a fantastic career at different clubs. But so you've got lots of possessions in and around the shop. What would you say is your most what's the best thing you've got as a possession? What's your most prized possession?
Please tell me more exactly what you mean with that, because
Okay.
Okay.
So in your shop, what is your most favorite thing? Football shirt or a medal or a clip? What is your the best thing in your?
Okay, it sounds pretty bullshitty, yeah. So I can show you a little bit from here, yeah. This lamp, yeah. I think I need nine hours to put it up, yeah, because I have to build it up. This is my bottle lamp. I think I paid 2,000 euros. It's a special thing. A guy built it for me, yeah. But I don't think that the cashier is the best or the lamp are the best. I think the best thing in my shop is that I know people more well than before. The best thing here was the last 7 years, and I know the people better. So just give me a second. I think the best thing I learned that if you're a professional football player or a poor guy who's studying, the same people, they all have a woman at home. They said to them, "Oh, your socks lying next to the bed. Bring it to the cleaning room, yeah? Or your glasses or your dishes are there. Bring it back." Everybody's equal. If you have millions and is football player, or if you're a poor student, everybody has the same problems. Everybody have the same wishes in another style. Yeah, a football player which have millions have dreams, and the poor student have dreams too. This is the best thing, and the best thing I learned. It's not a thing in my shop. I think I can reach people better than before. I understand people better than before.
I never forget the nice story when I was talking to you guys in Unterkirchen, you and Felix, and we were talking about a potential trip to the UK or the US for some extra training. I said I might not be able to take both of you to start with, and I remember you as the salon owner. Actually, you'll probably remember the story. Very emotional. And you said to me, and I think Felix was there. He said, "Look, I've been very blessed with my upbringing, and to give the opportunity to just one of us, I would like you to pick Felix first than me." Honestly, I've never come across in a short space of time somebody who is as humble or who would do that for another person, because people in the industry I'm in, they all want to push themselves forward. They've all got big egos. They all want to work on stage. But your response that day was such a humble, meaningful thing. Said, "Hey, if it's going to be chosen between me and Felix, I'm going to push Felix forward, and I want him to do it." Can you remember that story?
Yeah, we was drunk, standing outside, smoking cigarettes. Yeah. Yeah, I think, phew. Yeah. The thing is, everybody's going to die from us, yeah? And nobody will remember us in 10 or 20 years after our death, yeah? And if you're not the grandeur from Apple or from Amazon, I think your grandchildren don't remembering your name, yeah? But I think for everybody, it's important to have his point in his life where people see me, and I have my own shop. People said, yeah, build your own shop. I think it doesn't work. I'm from a small village. You want to have 45 euros, 50 for a haircut. Everybody's coming one time and then never again because they couldn't think that it works, yeah? And the only reason I told you, I never want to be a boss. Yeah, I only want to do my job, and nobody have to tell me what I have to do. And I think everybody needs his point in his life where everybody's looking at you if you're a creative guy, yeah. And he's an employee from me, but he built the shop with me up, yeah. And without Felix, I would be nothing, and Felix would be nothing without me. So we both were a team. And but the difference was I'm an owner, he was an employee, but we was on from eye to eye on the same high, yeah. And that's why I told you bring him father, and take him, not me, because I have a shop and he's an employee, but he's really good, and I think he needed and he wanted, and I think he's good for that job.
Yeah,
sorry for my emotional bad English. Sorry.
No, I get it, and I think you had to be there at the time, and I know we were stood outside, but I think at that point everybody was sober, and I think it was just a really meaningful thing to say. And then I'll never forget the time in Sheffield where you had your fish and chips for the first time. We're just waiting for Elmar to reconnect, but just while he's trying to get his screen back on, the guys came over from Germany, and we had him in Sheffield, staying in a really nice hotel. They were spending a few days up at Barbers, and they both, after we had a few drinks on an evening, both said that we don't want to go out for a meal. We want you to get into us and take us out for a fish and chips. So after our seminar at Savills, we ended up having fish and chips and walking through the centre of Sheffield while they were having fish and chips out of paper. I don't know if you can remember that, Elmar.
I'm remembering. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we can't see you, so I think your screen's
gone
off.
How is it possible that you see me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Just try and click your video, see if your video comes on.
Hello again. Better?
Yep, we're all good. I would have said about the first time that you guys had fish and chips in the UK, walking around Sheffield with them into paper.
I'm so happy that not one car hit me up. Because you guys drive on the wrong lane. What's up with you?
There's something wrong with you, fuckers.
The whole world do it right, and you guys drove on the left lane. Why not?
And whilst
I loved it.
Whilst you've done lots of great things in barbering, and you've done some super things, and I still want to come out and have a couple of days with you in your shop, and more the social side of it with you two. I'll never forget the breakfast in the beautiful hotel in Sheffield. But Elmar did this thing with what's called an egg bomb, where you put a full egg in your mouth and then but with his mouth closed.
Yeah,
which were
I thought it was such a funny moment. Yeah,
Thomas was there from Austria as well. Can you remember the guy called Thomas? Was it from Austria?
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
No, I didn't.
Okay, me neither. So he must have been put off by the egg bomb.
The egg bomb was so awesome. You guys in England have such a good breakfast. Really. You eat in the morning and you're filled up the whole day. I love your breakfast. Really.
And you'll see Joff.
Please invite me, so I need this breakfast again.
You'll see Joff, guys, coming up on the 8th of December on one of our shows as a guest presenter on Barbers Arms. Joff Davis will be joining us from Savills to co-host that show with me. And on that night, we will be having Carl Smith from Carl Smith's Grooming and the long-awaited interview with the Pissed Off Barber. That is going to be coming up on the 8th of December. And also don't forget to tune in on the 22nd of December, which is the Barbers Arms Christmas special, where the one and only Gary Machin will be joining us back, and he'll be joining me and some of our regulars on the Arms through the year to have a catch up and a Christmas drink. Just before we move on to our final questions, don't forget to follow us on our social media. Simon Shaw Wahl, the British Barbers_Arms is our Instagram account. The barbersarms.co.uk is our website, and if you want to email us for future shows. And on that website as well, you can see all the other 74 shows, nearly 9 million views that we've had since we started Barbers Arms. And all the podcasts are on that website, which is the barbersarms.co.uk. If you want to email us, it's barbersarms@thebritishbarber.com. Coming up after Elmar, we have Stephanie Polansky, who is the new Director of Education for Wahl Clipper Corporation, a company I work for. So looking forward to Steph coming up from California. She's going to be joining us after Elmar. Elmar, finishing off with one last question I want to ask you. Just sum it up for us. What is the most favourite part of your job? What do you love the best out of what you do?
The best is, okay, I know what you mean. I love razor fades so much. Slick backs with much volume and the classy things. What not everybody is doing, you know what I mean? Not one length on the side. From 0 to hero. I love it so fucking much. Yeah.
Would you say would you class yourself as classic barbering or classic new Evo? How would you describe yourself?
I think it's a mix between of classic and new age. I want to combine the classic sides, yeah, to the modern tops. And do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, modern tops, yeah, not too classy. You can style it classy, but you have to cut classy, but it's possible to style it modern and classy. And the mix between modern and classy is my favorite thing in my job, yeah.
Excellent. Well, Elmar, it's been a pleasure to interview you. We're going to finish off with some quick fire questions for our guests, which gets a little bit of a profile on you. So the questions are, Elmar, and pronouncing your surname is Heilf?
Heilf.
Elmar Heilf from Cologne in Germany. What a guy this guy is. And very one of the original to revolutionize barbering with his friend Felix in Germany. Got a lot of respect for this guy. What I say on the pitch and off the pitch, at work, love him to death. But out of work as well, is one of the most genuine guys and a real friend of mine within this industry. And whatever I could ever do to help this guy, I always would do. And that's how much I rate him as a person. For me, he's one of those that first and foremost, I look at you as a friend, not the work part. You're a mate, and I love that of you. Elmar, what's your favourite music?
Whoa. Everything from 70s to 80s to 90s and the best of everything.
You got one album.
The hat banging. If you hear music, the hat have to bang.
You've got one album on your music. You've got one album you could take with you. What's the album you'd have? What's the favorite piece of music?
Whoa, everything from Queen.
Queen. Oh, I like it. Yeah, they released their greatest hits. What's your favorite?
The best music in the world.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, meat and vegetables.
What's your favorite destination?
What?
Your favorite destination, the favorite place?
Mallorca. It's next. It's nearer than Hamburg. It's farther than Hamburg, but it's easier to arrive. Hamburg is 400 kilometers. Mallorca is maybe 1,700, but I'm in Mallorca in an hour and 45. In Hamburg, I'm in 4 hours. So Mallorca, yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite drink?
Rum cola and wine. Wine first.
And I'll say this slowly so you understand. If you could go for one night with somebody to a dinner date, past or present, somebody you could fetch back from the dead, who would you like to have one night with, to have a meal and to have a chat with?
At first you and then Deadpool.
Deadpool. Oh God, you're so funny.
You're so crazy.
We have Elmar Heilf here from Germany. What a super barber, what a super guy. He's looking super as well with his new fitness look about him, losing all those kilos. Elmar's listening to his favourite music, which is Queen. He's having his favourite food, which is whatever's meaty at that time. He's doing all this in Mallorca, which is his favourite destination. He's having a rum and coke while he's doing it, and he's doing all this with either me or Deadpool. Elmar, it's been a pleasure to have you on Barber's Arms. Brother, I'll speak to you before Christmas, but God bless you.
Thank you so much. Love you.
You're a top man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Elmar there from Germany, and trust me, I hope that came across in the interview. He's such an affectionate guy, but that was a true story. And if I go a bit deep into that story, he'd said Felix had not had the privilege upbringing that he'd had. And so if there was a trip to have to UK or America, he'd push him forward. And for me, so I took them both. Because of his humbleness and the way he did things, it wasn't a test, but it became a test because I thought, do you know what, I can't take one without the other. And he really went up in my estimation when he did things like that. Great barber as well, by the way, really good barber. And in Germany, they have definitely got that kind of rock star, scoundrel, Scorum, barber-esque feel about their business in Germany as well, in Cologne as well, and they get lots of footballers going in there. And I think, you enjoyed that interview. It was great to get Elmar on there. I just want to talk to you before we fetch Steph in from America about a few things that's up and coming as well. So don't forget, on the 8th of December, we have the co-host on Barber's Arms joining us, which will be Mr. Joff Davis joining me from Savills. Joff's going to be joining us live in the Barber's Arms to co-host that evening with us, which is going to be a very interesting evening. Hear what I'm going to say here, guys. We've got Carl Smith on from Carl Smith Grooming, who's going to be joining us. But then we've got the pissed off barber. No one knows who this guy is. I'm sure that at some point you've either laughed at some of the stuff that he's put out there, you've had a little giggle, or if you've been at the end of some stick as well, you might have been a little bit annoyed as well. But he's going to be joining us. Doubt he'll come out, but he's going to come out behind the screen or with a mask on or whatever to hide his identity. And I think, the game should be like that. That's what he should do to keep the myth going. But he's going to be joining us on Barber's Arms on the 8th of December. That's going to be a blockbuster show on the 8th. And then all you locals going to be joining us on the 22nd, which is our Christmas party. Where me and Gaz I'll have a few drinks with you, and we'll have a little talk about the year that we've had. Starting off a bit bad with lockdown, but then from the April time onwards, we've all been back open, and hopefully everybody's had a good year, and everybody's looking forward to 2022, which is going to be a big year coming up. That's all going to be on the 22nd. If you want to be part of the 22nd show as well, don't forget to drop our production team an email at the Barber's Arms, which is barbersarms@thebritishbarber.com. That's our email address. On our website is thebarbersarms.co.uk. You can see all the past episodes, 75 episodes, and all the podcasts are on there. And Instagram, Simon Shaw Wahl, and Barbers_Arms. Before we move on to Steph, little shout out to Adam Sloan, who congratulate Adam on what I saw at the weekend was the finest drinking of red wine I have ever seen in my entire life. Wow, this guy can drink it like I've never seen before. So when footballers get a bottle and somebody else has drunk it, they'll squirt the bottle out. Now he didn't drop the drop, but when you're taking it so it's not near your mouth. So imagine that with red wine. And it didn't go near his mouth, but he didn't drop it. It was like one of those plants that opens up and just takes everything in. He knows I've said it to him, and he had a laugh with us on Sunday night. But great company up there in Scotland at the weekend, Adam. It was great having a chat with you. And I don't know how you cope with that Phil Jarman. He just never sits down. Sit down. Up and down all night. Settle down. something wrong with him. He needs to take a chill pill. And he's everywhere. Next I knew we were on stage presenting awards on stage. We had a great weekend, all of us anyway. So well done to the guys that all won awards at the weekend, and Phil and Adam, and congratulations to Joe and everybody who put the Shabbos on. Josie Smith as well, my co-host up there. She's such a professional. She just turned on the Glasgow lights that afternoon, and then got over to the hotel and presented with me on stage. So fantastic. That great night. I was had by all. I think we've got a few people in the house that's watching. Again, congratulations to one of our big followers here on Barbers Arms, being there right from the beginning. Rick Roberts, again, picking up the Afro Hairdresser of the Year at the British Hairdresser Awards. Well done, Rick. A fantastic achievement. 3rd time. So I think that's Rick now into the Hall of Fame. And, I think when you set out in this industry to do things, to get that kind of accolade is an amazing hard work. And every time you look at your trophies, you've got to think of things you've sacrificed, potential holidays that you've not gone on because you've put it into photo shoots, potential late nights, potential Sundays that you've worked. But it's great to look back at things like that. And again, what an achievement for Rob Eaton, British Hairdresser of the Year from Barnsley. 2nd time he's won it. Congratulations, Rob. Fantastic. So without further ado, I would like to get our next guest on. This young lady nearly joined Wahl in 2021, 2020, sorry, right at the beginning of COVID. We did I spoke to her on an interviewing process, and then obviously COVID came and things just stopped. We were managed then, and we were lucky enough to secure her services later that year, and obviously to take her on board. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce to the barbering world, hairdressing world, everybody that follows on Barbers Arms globally. I'd like to formally introduce you to the new Director of Education for Global, Stephanie Polansky, in the house. Steph.
Thank you, Simon. I'm so excited to be here.
Hey, so we're excited to have you on, and I'm looking forward. Obviously, I've spent lots of times on Zoom with you. We'll meet up in person in Chicago with some of the team in January. But I want our viewers to get an idea of what your job is, what you found challenging so far, what's the differences coming from Sexy Hair Products and some of the other brands you've worked in. So let's go straight for it. Global Director of Education at Wahl. It's one of the highest positions that you can get from an education point of view, I would say, globally now. It's a big job to have. Steph, when you applied for the job, I'll be really honest, and this is what Barbers Arms is about. Did you realise how big Wahl was? Or did it dawn on you when you actually went to like HQ in Stirling and you had a tour of the factory? Did it then dawn on you, or did you already think that this is a massive company?
Yeah, so I always knew Wahl was a pretty good company, like big. However, I did not understand the immensity of it globally. So I understood it in the US, like how massive it was, but to be a brand like Wahl and how much of an impact Wahl has on a global level is just unheard of. And the fact that they all work together, so no one works in silos. Everyone is very welcoming. Everyone wants to learn from each other. They want to share best practices. Wahl works like as a total global unit. Even though it's a US company, it doesn't act like one. It is 100% global, and it is huge. It's way bigger than what I was anticipating.
And the reason why I asked that question is that obviously in the UK, I'd always used the brand, but never realised, I thought it was a few pairs of clippers. And it wasn't until I went to work for Wahl UK, within 3 months, I found myself out in Rockford at some training with the past people of Wahl. And then I got a tour of the factory. But at that point, the new innovation centre and the new building wasn't built. But even at that point, that's when it dawned on me early in my career. It's like, wow, this is like huge. So yeah, just coming on, just before I start, I jumped into the first question then, but just for our viewers, can you just give us a quick 2-minute bio of who you are, where you're from, and just so everybody gets a little insight into you?
Yeah, so I am a licensed hairdresser. So I've been licensed for over 30 years. I started behind the chair. I also started as a Redken artist as well as a artist. I was one of the facilitators at the Redken Exchange in New York City. I remember that I always wanted to work in New York. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just sent it out to the universe. This is what I want to do. And eventually Redken offered me a full-time position and asked me to move to New York. And they were creating a role that basically I got to create. And it was all about being there and helping create materials globally, and also having a voice for the hairdresser at the table with marketing. So keeping them like real and making sure that they understood the voice of the hairdresser. So I was with Redken for 13 years, and then L'Oreal purchased Pureology, and they asked me to move over to Pureology, and that was really hard because I was very loyal to Redken. They used to call it like a cult. But at the same time, I was like, you know what, you got to take new opportunities and try new things. And I think that was probably the start that made me not so nervous to try new opportunities and realize there are other amazing brands out there. So I went to Pureology. My job with Pureology was to revamp their education and get them ready to be launched globally. Because when L'Oreal purchased them, they were only a US brand. So we had to get them ready to be a global brand. From there, I moved to LA and worked as they had a global education for KMS. So I was in charge of all the countries, pretty much like the role I have now. I'm not in charge of a country. I am in charge of helping all the countries. So my job is to make sure all the countries have everything that they need, that we're sharing best practices, making sure that we're doing the best of the best. However, making sure the countries are still keeping true to what they need in their countries, so adapting to their local needs. From KMS, I went to Sexy Hair, and with Sexy Hair, I was there for 9 years. They were purchased by Hinkle, and years later, I had Sexy Hair, and then also was given my identity and statement. So I had 3 brands that I was managing, and honestly, I never had any plans to leave. It wasn't my goal. I was pretty happy at Sexy Hair, loved working there. But when I was given this opportunity at Wahl, and realized that I was going to go back to an entrepreneurial company, a family-owned company, and a company that, where the CEO knows everybody in the warehouse's name, I couldn't pass it. It was like the all-time, like that's who I am. That's like me. That's me as a hairdresser. It's like true to my heart. And so this was the brand that I was like, this is the last brand I'm working for. This is like, I don't think that the Wahls are ever going to sell the brand. So I think I'm good. It's always going to be entrepreneurial. They're always going to have what they have. But I've come on at a great time, because the thing that's happening right now is that we've always been global, but we are now like really focusing on global. I'm the first like real position in the US. You were first like the global artist, but now we're building a global team, because this is a massive goal of ours, is to become one Wahl versus regional. So this is the big goal, and it's super exciting for us.
And just for our viewers, I know, but just tell everybody where you're based as well.
I guess I'm in Los Angeles, California.
So you have nice weather at the moment?
Yeah, it's 78 right now.
You're making everybody.
I don't know. Every time I talk to you, you're not happy with me.
Every time I speak to you, it's nice weather. You have nice summers, nice winters, nice fall. Oh, it's just not good. Steph, so moving on is what's the, well, just say it is, what's the most you're looking forward to in your job as Global Director of Education? What is the thing that you're really looking forward to? What do you think is going to be the best part of your job?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to just seeing the countries grow, and to see the countries be able to collaborate with each other and learn from each other. I'm looking forward to being the what would you call it, like the glue in the gap, and like bringing them all together. And just in the short time I've been here, I'm 7 months now. I just hit my 7-month mark. Like just seeing how excited they are, and how like every time they talk to me and they're just like, thank you so much. Like it's so great to like talk to other people, other countries, and get their feedback. They just feel like they're a part of a bigger thing than when they were before. And I'm really excited just to see Wahl become this one Wahl, to where we all are like going for the same goal. We all have the same purpose, and we're working as one unit now.
Excellent. And just for our viewers and for everybody else who's watching as well, anybody from Wahl, is what does Stephanie fetch to the brand? What's one of your main strengths that we can look forward to? What do you fetch to Wahl? What can we expect?
Yeah, so probably my main strength that I'm going to be able to bring in is being able to be a leader and listen and let people have a voice. And before making a decision, I take in everyone's opinions and everyone's ideas. And then from there, go into making like, okay, here's the final decision that we need to make. I think the other strength I'm going to bring in is the fact that I will have a voice in the Sterling office to let everybody there know, like, okay, here's what the countries are saying. And they're already feeling that from me. I know I drive them crazy. But like finally getting a voice in like the office as to like, here's what everyone wants, here's what everyone's saying, and making sure that, you know, all the countries are heard. And I think this is going to be the biggest strength I have, is bringing unity together.
Excellent. I'm sure so far when I've been on meetings with us, and you know, it is a tough job that you're going to have to do. It's just going to be one of those things that, you know, I think anybody who looks at a global position, I think the first thing they look is, oh, I'm going to be able to travel, I'm going to do this. It's like, it's such hard work. I think the one thing that you're coming into, it's not like you're taking over a role from somebody when we worked with Laura. It's like that job went because of COVID. So me and you know, we're starting again with a lot of this stuff. So, you know, I think somebody with your organizational skill, I'm fetching good people in, like you've already fetched in as well, like Darlene and stuff. You know, always surround yourself with good people. I can't wait for January to get the plans out, and then the plans, let's get them into action straight away. So I think that's going to be a real big plus. Another question, working for the brand as well, and I know for people who's watching, don't be thinking this is an advertisement for Wahl, but I got our global director of education here, so it's got to be Wahl centric, some of the questions. And forgive me, all these 75 episodes that I've done, you've not heard me go on about Wahl too much. I frown upon people who use other brands, that's all. So we just forgive me on this one. What's impressed you the most since you've joined us? What's the thing that you've come and think, wow, this is different to any other brand I've worked at? So what's impressed you the most besides me?
Yeah, besides you, I will say that I love working with you. I think it's so much fun. It's the people who impress me. You know, everyone, so many people I talk to, and they're like, oh, I've been with Wahl for 20 years. I've been here 23 years. And for me, it's just, that's kind of unheard of in our industry, you know, to have people who are so dedicated to a brand. But when I learned all of this, I was like, wow, like this must be an amazing brand for people to stick around. And you're a great example. It's not like you wouldn't have other opportunities out there. But there's a reason why you chose to stay with Wahl. And so the people, I told Lance, my boss, when I first started, you know, he's like, you know, how are things going? I said, I don't think I've ever started with a company where I felt more welcome. Like everyone's just so inviting. They're so kind. I just went to my first US sales meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I've never laughed so hard at a sales meeting in my entire life. Like it was such a great camaraderie. There was no, like, normally when I'm in sales meeting, I'm stressed out. I'm like, oh, we're going to get yelled at for not doing something, or something's going to happen. And it wasn't like that at all. It was all about like, what can we do as a team to fix this? And everyone had a great time, but at the same time, it was productive and we were learning. And so if you have that, if you have a great team, you can pretty much accomplish anything that you want.
Yeah, I mean, when you said that, I was taking some guys around for the fellowship for the first visit to Wahl UK last week. And when you're going around the building, you know, this is Martin, our estates manager. He's been here 27 years. RMD's been there 30 years. Our general manager's 29 years. I've been there 22 years. Our financial director's been there 22 years. There is a lot of people with a lot of longevity, which tells you one thing: it's got to be good to work here, because you won't hang around for that long. I'm not saying everything's perfect, but there is a lot of longevity.
A lot. And I think too, like an example that's just on the top of my mind because I was just in the office. So like Scott Fraser, who just got promoted to president of APAC. I was so impressed with him because he's the president. Like no president would sit in on an education meeting, and he's joined every single education meeting that I've hosted with the APAC team. He's always there. When I was in the office, he literally like he could have just walked by, but he stopped in the room I was in, and he was just like, hey, like, welcome, it just, that says a lot for a company that when you're at that level that it doesn't even strike you that you're at that level. You're still part of the team.
Well, Scott's always been involved in education.
Yeah.
And, some of my early tours to like India and China and stuff, he's been instrumental in not only setting it up, but he's either been there or visited, and he gets it. But, Brian's our chief at the minute, but his dad before, Greg, I don't know if you met Greg, but Greg, he'd come into a meeting when I were there, and there'd be 30 people there, and he'd come straight up to you. And one thing I loved about it is they knew you by name, but they also knew your job inside out. And the passive comment about, oh, I saw you do that event a couple of months ago, I got photographs, and I'm like, oh, wow,
there's no hiding.
CEO. This is the main man at Wahl, and he knows my name, he knows what I do. And, over the 20 years that I've been going into Stirling in and out, every time I've gone there, Greg's made a point, if he's seen me, to come across and speak to me and tell me what great things the UK is doing when he's been over to the UK. And Brian and Kevin and Lance in particularly, working with Lance and obviously on our side, you wouldn't think that they're actually Wahl, they've got Wahl surnames, the way that they act in and around the business, because there is just no like hierarchy as such.
No, they're very humble.
Really humble to work with. Just changing the subject slightly, growing up, as you've had some great positions, some global positions. So it's not just at Wahl you've done this, you've done it with other brands you've been in. So obviously you've got great leadership skills and great organisation skills, which I've seen as well. But what did Stephanie want to do growing up? What were your ambitions as a teenager coming into adults? What did you really want to do, or are you doing what you really wanted to do?
Yeah, so I think there were two things. It was either a teacher or a hairdresser, and so I think I combined them. And the hairdresser, that happened when I was in the 6th grade, and I went to the salon, and my hairdresser I thought was the coolest person in the entire world. And she had big curly hair, it's the perm time, but I thought she was so cool. And I even remember when I was at the movies with my friends and I saw her, and I was like, oh my God, that's my hairdresser. Like, look at her, she's so cool. Like, it's like they're your hero and a superstar. And I remember how she made me feel, and it was like, what a cool job to be able to make people feel so great, like when they leave. And so that was always the one thing I wanted to do. And of course, you grow up and your parents are like, you'll never make any money. Like, like that's not a career to take. My parents actually didn't do that to me. So I got pretty lucky to where I was able to go into being a hairdresser and, got supported because the other option was being a teacher, but I hated school. So I couldn't imagine going through 4 more years of school. So yeah, it all worked out really well for me because I got to end up doing both without 4 years of college.
And I think the story is as well, I always kind of like, I can't remember, Byron being a soccer player, football player, kind of like what I wanted to do. And I think from a very early age at 16, I always felt I was going to travel the world educating. I don't know why, and I can't pinpoint the time when it happened, but our stories are quite kind of similar that, we wanted to do hairdressing or barbering, and we wanted to educate at the same time. You want to share your knowledge in a good way. Coming away from this then, if you could be one person for a day, celebrity, president, anybody, actor, who would you want to be for one day? Who would you like to change for one day?
For one day, probably Gandhi, just to see what it was like. Gandhi. I can't imagine like just to see like what was going on in his head and how it felt, and just like to have that much willpower and still like inspire so many people.
Have you watched the film with Ben Kingsley, the British actor? So I watched that for the first time about 3 months ago. Everybody said it and spoke about it, but what a performance. And it's the first time you realise as well, even on his deathbed, how calm he were and what a thoughtful guy he were. So yeah, it's not an easy. I'd have thought you might have picked somebody easier. I think I'd like to be somebody like Donald Trump for a day, just to see how easy it is.
No, it'd be a nightmare. That'd be fun. I could do a lot of bad things, but that's not it.
Yeah, I think that could be be a real.
I don't want to be. I want to be in a position where I'm liked, and where I would love to see just from his eyes how he views the world.
Yeah.
Like just, that's just such an amazing man to like put himself through everything he did. But how did he view the world that made him like strong enough to do it? Like given like everything we see in the world.
No, I agree with you. I think it's just one of those, we've all got different people you look at and you think, I'm most fascinated in history and people in history. Sometimes if I ever get a chance to speak to somebody and I'm like, oh, can I just ask you about that time when this happened in your life? How did you deal with it? It fascinates me, all that kind of stuff. So I suppose if you could have an audience with Gandhi as well, it'd be something that you'd love to ask him questions about.
Yeah.
To do it. Steph, it's great to have you on Barber's Arms. I'm sure at Wahl, we know we've captured a fantastic individual who's going to drive global education. Just so everybody is aware, me and Steph work side by side. So my job is to educate our presenters, whether that's classroom, whether that's on a show, to create theatre, the way we look, the way you should speak, the way you should, the time that you should spend on stage to make sure that you're a dynamic presenter. But also as well, I like to educate all across our brands. So I educate in the UK our sales reps how to do their presentations, how to speak to people, how to set your room up. So that's my job. And Steph's job is to put and implement all our education structures across the globe as well, to make sure we've got foundation, moving across up to higher education within barbering and hairdressing with our brand as well. So that's how we all work together. And sometimes we'll be in the same countries, but sometimes it's Steph goes in and sorts all the hard stuff out and structures all the education, and then I'll go in and teach him just how to deliver that education. But that's how things will work. I know we've had a few people asking, well, what's the difference between your roles here? Mine.
I'm the peanut butter and you're the jelly. Like we don't make the sandwich.
And if you've ever had a peanut butter and jello sandwich in the America, you've got to have them. It's not a UK delicacy, that, Steph. So,
oh, really?
No, not at all.
We grew up on them.
More popular. Steph, I'm going to finish up some quick fire questions just for our audience. They're not going to be the same as Elmar's that we've just had. We're going to be a little bit different, just to find out a little bit of personality about yourself. So it's either or either of you. Dogs or cats?
Oh, say that again.
It's just quick fire questions. It's some preferences. So do you prefer dogs or cats?
Dog.
Dogs. Same here. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Like a true American. Night in or night out?
Night in. If you asked me that like 15 years ago, it would have been opposite, but now it's a night in.
You're no different to any guest on Barber's Arms. It becomes, as soon as we hit the 40 barrier, it's everybody on
over.
It's night in, night in. A new question that we've never had before, but poignant with an American being on and the time of the year. Thanksgiving or Christmas holidays?
Oh, Christmas.
Ah, you surprised
I could
me.
do without Thanksgiving. You just end up like having a sore tummy.
No, because we're an American company, we sometimes have Thanksgiving dinners at
Just
Wahl.
to have it.
Yeah, it just happens.
We do it more for family. Yeah.
Do you prefer shopping in person or shopping online?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Thanks to COVID, it always was in person. Now it's online. I can't stand being around people now.
Well, I spoke to Steph earlier. We was on a meeting earlier, and she was just traveling back from a daughter's school. You were just having some COVID tests there. You're on some Ike or something with your daughter this next few days.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And we've been seeing all your photographs as well on your Facebook, Disney and all the different stuff with you and your husband and your daughter. It all looks fantastic out there. You're blessed with the weather. You've got a fantastic climate. You're blessed with this fantastic job as Director of Global Education with Wahl. We're really pleased to have you on board. So Barbers Arms, I'd like to thank Stephanie Polansky, who is our Director of Education at Wahl. Thank you for being a guest on Barbers Arms. We'll be speaking. We've got a meeting next week, Steph, so I'll see you on the meeting next week, and looking forward to meeting you and all the guys in Chicago in January.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. Thank you so much, Simon. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, Steph. Well done. Well, guys, it's been a long one tonight because I've been on with Jax. No, Gaz, he's out partying. I'm sure he might be looking at his phone. Well, no, he'll not be looking at his phone now and again. He'll be, what time is it? 9:10. It's probably been out since 5. We're now looking at trying to do the averages, 4 hours, 3 pints an hour, 12 pints. The guys will be on 12 pints and maybe a few shots in between just because he can. If it were me, 4 pints, 5 pints is my maximum. I'm not a massive drinker, so there we go. Oh, you've enjoyed Barbers Arms tonight. It's been a little bit different. Thursday, the 2nd of December. We're in December. Hope you're all doing your elves at home for your kids, and if not for your kids, for your kiddie partners. Elves are back, keeping the magic of Christmas alive. It's fantastic. It's getting nice and cold. Keep safe. Make sure you're wearing protection where you can. Travel with public transport. If you feel like in a salon, I know the onus is not on you as much now. It's on the individuals to wear masks. But I think wherever possible, guys, I am not one for pushing vaccines on everybody or boosters. That's down to you as individuals. What will happen, though, and as few as my mates who have said, I'm not having a vaccination. I'm not doing it. When you come to book holidays or you come to travel, you're realising that you have to make that decision. It's up to you, and I respect those decisions that people make. But do what's right for you guys, and make sure you just keep safe so we can keep this industry open, and not just the industry, but every industry as well. And we have a fantastic, successful Christmas. We will be back on Barbers Arms on the 8th of December, where me and Joff Davies from Savills, my old pal Joff, will be joining me in the bar to interview Carl Smith from Carl Smith Grooming in Barnsley, and the Pissed Off Barber. Have you ever wondered who he is? Have you ever laughed at some of his posts, even if he's been taking the piss out of me? Even if he's proper give people some stick, and some of it's been funny, some of it people don't like, but he's definitely made a name for himself. Well, he's going to be on Barbers Arms on the 8th of December, so we're really looking forward to an interview with me and Joff with Carl Smith on the 8th. And then the old mucker Gary Machin will be back on the 22nd, and Gary will be doing the Christmas special with me, which is Barbers Arms, and that'll be a short one just to get people in, all our locals and regulars, for a Christmas drink and just to reminisce about what kind of year we've had before we go off with us families and have our festivities. So that's all coming up on Barbers Arms. Congratulations to one of our great followers, Rick Roberts, on winning the Afro Hairdresser of the Year and entering the Hall of Fame. So well done, Rick. And a big mention on tonight, the new British Hairdresser of the Year, Rob Eaton. Congratulations from everybody at Barbers Arms. Until the 8th of December, guys, stay safe, be strong, and take plenty of money. We'll see you all on the 8th with Josh Davis. See you then. Bye.